And we're here in the beautiful 950 space, our South Campus. And we're here with the graduate galleries. And we have an exhibition happening right now called Reveal, covering layers of creativity. And this whole gallery is about expressing process from our graduate students. We have 10 departments here, and this show represents 6 of those departments. And we want to meet a couple of the students exhibitors in a little bit, but come on in, take a look. So as you can see, this exhibition is all about revealing the process. And over here we have Andi Lee, and she's a furniture lining fixtures student who's going to be graduating, I think, this term. And we're also going to be talking to Oscar Chang. Here's his works over here. You can see a little bit of his process through the system that was created with the gallery. Okay, hey guys, how you doing? First, let me just ask you, what was your journey coming to Art Center? Why did you decide to come to graduate school here in furniture fixtures, Andi?
So I graduated here with product design degree, my bachelor degree, and afterwards I was working as a soft look designer in LA. And during my undergrad, I did some furniture projects, but they're not enough for to getting a job in the furniture industry. So while working, I still want to do something about furniture, so I decided to come back to Art Center to get a furniture lighting and picture design.
How's it going so far?
It's great.
Yeah, and I guess you're graduating this term, right?
Yeah.
So are you working on your grad show now?
Yeah, I'm working on my thesis project and also grad show.
Great. Yeah, I want to hear more about that in a while. And Oscar, tell us about your process.
Yeah, so hi, my experience is a little different. I have a fine art background in Chicago, and I studied actually printmaking and sculpture for my undergrad, and I had this very obsessive passion on craftsmanship and making process. But through my undergrad study, I kind of transferred that passion towards product design and furniture design, kind of transferring that love for making to kind of designing tangible objects. And so I was working for a couple of different furniture companies and seeing what the industry is asking for in young designers, and kind of really felt that Art Center really, I think, stood out among other art grad schools. I think for its focus on production furniture and for a furniture piece that really kind of takes the market into concern. And to my surprise, actually, when I actually got here, our professor allowed a lot of creative freedom, so we could do art furniture like I previously did, or we can choose to do production furniture as well. So a great range, I think, of products, and it has been very rigorous so far, but I think it's really reshaping my practice.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It sounds like it's rigorous, but also allows you to choose and maybe the direction that you want to be going in. That's great. In terms of the layers of meaning question, so what have you been uncovering in your work, and how does that work for you?
I think the common theme of our work is pretty much about movement. I'm really interested in how people interact with objects and how people's movements and presentabilities interaction with the surroundings. So my work is a lot of them are inspired by these kind of movements or presentabilities. For example, the chair was influenced by thinking about how people changing postures when they're sitting, and the lighting set is inspired by when seeing this pop tube shape, people without doubt they know that it can stretch and make sounds, and they know the parts can do certain features.
It sounds very provocative and interesting. I think maybe people can learn more later about your work, and maybe we can have a chance to take a little walk through it. Oscar, how about you? How's it work for you? What kind of layers of meaning do you have into your works?
So I think the prompt of layer of meaning is very interesting. It just makes me think of this aspect of discovery, I think, in the design process, and how I think just for me doing iterations is this kind of uncovering layers of possibilities, of potentials. And my process kind of involves in covering, I think, as much ground as possible in a creative process, So like for this stool, for example, I did really rough sketches with different mediums like ink, pencil, markers, and when that's not informative enough, I kind of transfer to like clay, like 3D modeling and kind of 3D printing and whatever it takes to kind of to uncover, like I think, the hidden layer of possibilities for a form, for a furniture design. So like for me, I think the layers of meaning and uncovering is really within the exploration and the iterations.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It feels like that's something that you can really explore on the graduate level, program here. Do you have like hopes or desires in the way in which you want people to understand your work or experience it on multiple levels? Like, do you think about like when you see it, the silhouette of it, that's one way of understanding it and coming into it. But maybe you could talk a bit about that. And is there something that you want to reveal that's like not obvious? Is there an invitation to that? How do you feel about this?
I actually don't want people like to say like I want people how to experience it. More likely, I would like to create possibilities for different way of use, and so people can have their own like iteration about how they want to use the product and how they want to explore it, like using different ways.
How about you, Oscar?
Yeah, I think for me, like thinking about the experience that audience have with my piece is like, I think it's really the magic of the full scale model, and I think what really differentiates like furniture from like other industrial design or product design projects is that like we're so fixated on creating the perfect like full scale model that represents the final piece, because experiencing it in the actual material, in the full scale, in the room, like interacting with the space around it, I think really creates that like tangible experience for people, and you get to people get to touch it, they get to maybe like sit on it, and they get to it's all, I think, the sensory experience it creates, and that's, I think, the magic of furniture design. That's,
Yeah, it's really intriguing to have that discussion too, because I feel like, and you both have seating elements too, so it really engages somebody on a more like intimate sensorial level. How about the making? Because I know I'm sure you work with digital and hand tools and all kinds of different processes to make the piece, and we see some mock-ups here also in this exhibition. I always thought like when you make a furniture on a workshop table, you're seeing it one way, but you literally need to put it down there to understand it the way people will understand it. Are these things that, how do you navigate these kinds of processes to end up with a final physical result?
Like I always did full-size prototype before I make the final decision of the form and then materials, so I can first experience it, like just check it's comfortable, like the scale is right, and then I would just for me I make most of the stuff like by myself or like local vendors that help me to make some parts like locally, because that way it's like easier for me to control the pace and then control like how things like perform, like if there's an accident like during production or like isn't like material like difficulties that I'm making it.
Yeah, I can see you really engaged with that. I've seen you at the grad fab lab, like making some of the prototypes and you seem like really super focused and stuff. Interesting to see how that process really is for you. How about you, Oscar?
Yeah, I also go from like full scale drawing, full scale mock-up to just really rough sketches, and I think I talked about it a little bit, but even for like 2D exploration, I like to experiment with like different mediums. Like if marker sketches are not working for this particular form, I would try like an ink drawing maybe, or like even like painting or like collage sometimes. So like really finding that way, the right way to execute the most desired form, and I think that can really, there's no one formula for it for me. Like it's really depends on the project, and also each region might be different. It's also very back and forth. You do full scale, and then some part was a little off. You go back to the rough exploration phase, and then back to full scale again.
We're like challenge or disrupt conventions, or, and I ask that too to maybe, maybe have a conversation about how's your work different than what you see? Do you think about it that way? Are you making work that fits within certain conventions, or do you think like, well, this exists, so I'm doing kind of this way? Or how do you think about that in terms of like, your work? I don't want to say standing out, but what's the difference between yours and maybe what's happening in the world or the convention of this field?
So I feel like for furniture and lighting, first it has to be something people can understand, understandable. So it definitely like facing some conventions, and also people have common ergonomics. So I think these are the similarities of like every like furniture or lighting product. But there are always some opportunities people can get some insights from research and about like how people interact with objects, and then getting inspiration from that, and also like getting inspiration from other like daily items, and then making something special, but like not like completely like not understandable.
Really about making something that can be experienced on multiple levels.
Yeah.
It has some longevity. And I guess that's a question we haven't really asked yet too. What your furniture and lighting, and maybe you don't have the answer yet, is there a certain kind of either market or user that you like to think about, or what's that for you?
Like for the chairs, probably for commercial, but like for the lighting, it's definitely like residential. Now I'm making my prototypes, and it will be shown during the grad show at like April 26th.
April 26th?
Pasadena Convention Center.
Okay.
And I'll have my work in my website, like at andi.design.
Okay, we'll make sure we put that in the post for this later. How about you, Oscar?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Working on the thesis, like the grad show. Also doing a collection with a launch chair, a floor lamp, and a side table. It's kind of in terms of scale, the biggest like project done so far, and really learning how to work with like overseas manufacturers and arranging everything and putting together a vignette rather than just a single piece. So very excited for that, and I think we both are exhibiting our work at the SEFF show in New York.
Oh, when's that happening?
Coming May
18th.
Yeah.
May 18th in New York?
June 20 in
Can
Javits
everybody be
Center.
there May 18th, Javits Center? Please do.
Yeah, so we'll be there as well, and yeah.
Do you have your work online anymore?
Yeah, on my website and also Instagram.
Okay, great. We'll put that up there for everybody. Yeah, thanks you guys so much for having this conversation, and we just want to invite everybody to come to the exhibition. It's going to be up here till mid-June here on our 950 South Campus, and we'll be having another talk coming up. We have April 18th, we're going to have Prachiti. She's a graduate spatial design student candidate, and on May 16th we have Shinji Wu, who's a grad graphics exhibitor here, and then on June 20th we'll have Greta Long, and she's also a graduate graphics candidate who's showing her works here. So thanks a lot, everybody. Look for us on the next Black Box Talks, and see you then. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.